Hey, before you watch this thing, hit subscribe, would you? Do you find yourself to be sort of a de facto liberal leader? In the way that Jon Stewart was, didn't like it, resisted it, I'm on after robots.
You're on CNN. The show that leads into me is puppets making crank phone calls. What is wrong with you?
I think if you begin to think of yourself too much in any way like that, you begin to lose your mind.
I completely agree, but clearly you kind of like, uh-oh.
I will say that the experience I've had in the last couple of years is you go into rooms and, I'm a reporter, right? Mm-hmm. My whole career I've been, calling people up and waiting for them to call me back and going to meet them and trying to write down what they say. Mm-hmm. And in the last couple of years, as you begin to see things completely derailing, mm-hmm. you make these calls, you go into these rooms, and what you're looking for on some level is like, who are the adults around here? Mm-hmm. Who knows what's going on? And then you have this creeping suspicion there are none. Mm-hmm. Or if they do, they're not telling anybody.
Yeah.
And so there's no one to save you, no one to save us. You're just going to have to try to be one of the people. And it is a very, I would say, frightening realization.
Was there a moment, or it's just been gradual?
It's gradual. I mean, I would say there have been a bunch of moments.
The one that was clear where you were like, I have to be more active in this is the Biden stuff.
My heart breaks a bit for Joe Biden.
Where you were like, I just wonder if there's a way we could not have him be our nominee. Just hypothetically, I've been asking around.
Yeah, that was a moment where you look around and you think, everybody knows this.
That we're able to make every single solitary person eligible for what I've been able to do with the COVID.
They all know on some level. Not that they don't think he's senile. That's not my point. I don't think there was some grand cover up. But the people who need to act like the adults are not.
From a place of self-interest, laziness.
People are complicated.
Momentum.
Self-interest. I think there was also, people get very caught in what they think is and isn't possible. Mm-hmm. So when I was doing that Biden work, which is back in sort of early 2024, the thing that my contribution, I think, to that discussion was not saying Joe Biden is too old to be a good bet to run for president again. A lot of people had said that. Yeah. It was saying that there was still something that's saying that whatever it was, 8 months before the Democratic convention, there was nothing the party could do because the primaries were de facto over, was insane. There were still
and you
a lot
knew
of
to
things.
Be untrue.
It wasn't true. The candidates are chosen at conventions. And so it was the fatalism, right? That they had gotten into this thing where, one, there's nothing we can do. And two, the only other option is Harris, who at that point, I mean, she didn't end up winning the election, but I think she was stronger than he would have ended up being. But they had decided like she was unthinkable too. Or maybe they decided to think that because it protected Joe Biden. And it was that nihilist. It was like, you people are sitting around all day telling me that fascism is on our shores, and you're just going to roll forward with this? You're behind in the polls. Your guy can't give a press I mean, I don't want to be too hard on it. Like, it's all done now, and Joe Biden is sick, and the point is not to pile on. You're asking me about it.
Hopefully somebody write a book about it. Okay.
Yeah, right. But there are a lot of things like this. I mean, Trump came in, and the point is not that I know what's going on either. I don't. I mean, I do my best. I'm trying to figure out the world from my perspective. But I remember Trump came in.
I didn't have sex with a porn star.
And I was calling around to sort of top Democrats, and beneath a bunch of my questions, the real question was, do you have a theory of this? Is somebody on your team have a theory of this? Have you thought through what your opposition looks like? This is bad and getting worse fast. Do you actually have a strategy? And pretty clearly, it came clear to me they didn't. They were reactive like everybody was. And I'm not exactly blaming them on that, but there are fewer people in politics with a plan than you think there are. There are, like, one of the reasons conspiratorial thinking about politics isn't true is you have no idea how reactive everybody is.
Well, that's what you know from dealing with them. Yeah. It's like when I have friends that gamble on sports, I'm like, I know a couple athletes, don't gamble on sports. You don't want your income based on so-and-so's work ethic. because it can be real inconsistent.
Yeah.
So just put it in an index fund. That's my advice to the kids. I have a theory of the case of what happened to the Democratic Party, and you're the guy. I see you as like, this is customer service. You're the customer service rep. Okay, what I think happened was, because of social media, certain groups got a lot of amplification and a lot of seeming importance. They rose to the top of the priority list on social media. And Democrats seem incapable of telling any group, you're not our priority. And so it was easy to paint Kamala as the they, them, like whatever that ad.
Kamala's for they, them. President Trump is for you.
Because it sure seemed, even from my point of view, it sure seemed like they were only catering to people that could perform grievance on social media, and they couldn't say no to anybody. So they just, it's like the parent who just kept coddling their kid, and they created a fucking bunch of brats. They couldn't. So what I was saying before we started rolling is Obama was the last person to say, I'm not going to vote yes on gay marriage. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
And he got away with it, I believe, because he was black, which trumps, pardon the pun, trumps gay. It's like this like punching up, punching down calculus, and you just end up with a party that seems to serve no one. And I grabbed a screen grab of something I tweeted the day after Kamala lost, and this is from Democrats.org, and look who's on there. It says, who we serve.
One white guy with dreads.
And it's 9 black people or people of color and 1 white guy with dreads on Democrats.org. Because they couldn't say, hey, God forbid trans people, God forbid women, our priorities got to be collective or working class people. I know they're not really on social media, etc. Go.
So I'll modify it a bit. I think there's a lot of truth to that. And I think particularly the social media dynamic of it is really important. I agree that Obama was the last Democratic leader who said no routinely.
No.
To his own coalition, his own base. That there were
small
people,
parts of the coalition.
Not even small parts. There was I covered all this, and there were all these, the Obama White House would complain about what they called the professional left. There's a whole idea in the blogosphere, which was bigger back then, that the left was kept in what they called the veal pen.
Veal pen meaning veal are kept so they don't grow.
So Obama's relationship with his own base, with the electorate, was so personal, right? They were so invested in him. He just had a lot of authority over it, maybe not as much as Trump does running what's functionally a cult of personality, where there's real consequences for crossing him. But Obama really was a party leader. I wouldn't quite call it a machine boss, but closer to that than what we have now. The people came after him, Hillary Clinton and Joe Biden, their theory was always putting functionally his coalition back together, but they didn't have his relationship with it. So what he could do through himself, they had to do through promises, right? You give this group, you give that group, right? Hillary Clinton just had to be explicit about all kinds of things Obama was implicit about. And Biden, I think there was sort of a dual problem. It's not that she or he, Clinton or Biden, never said no to anybody, right? You know, activists on behalf of Palestine don't think that Biden never said no to anybody. But I do think this is caught up with one, Biden was fundamentally insecure. He almost had lost the primary to Bernie Sanders. He did not win Iowa. He did not win New Hampshire, right? He was not that strong. He wins on Super Tuesday after South Carolina in this kind of coalition where, you know, Buttigieg and Klobuchar drop out and endorse him. But it was sort of a party movement. The other thing is he was just, I do believe this was meaningful. Again, Biden was not senile, but he was too old. And he was not exerting the level of communicative power or force. He was not as engaged on on the variety of issues, say, Obama was.
That's all true. I agree. But I'm talking about how it seems. He didn't tell him what to put on Democrats.org. You know what I mean? He didn't tell him, go 90% people of color wanted it. But like, it seems like Democrats were only catering. And still, like that poll in the last week, that's like, Democrats are still hemorrhaging people. Because it doesn't seem like they're on the side of most people. It seems like they're on the side of the louder, more marginalized groups.
What would be the signal they could send to you, right? What would they need to do? What do you think they could do that would break through such that you would know about it, that would make you revise that opinion, right? If Hakeem Jeffries was sitting there, here, Chuck Schumer, like, okay, this is not the rep we want. What would you need to see that would make you feel differently
the ones
about it?
who seem like they're for people are Bernie, AOC, are the more like grassroots people who get more donations just by Bernie's got charisma, whether people realize it or not. AOC's very good looking, etc. So what it would take is I don't know. It just seems like they think they're better than voters. Like it seems like their message for the last 10, 15 years has been like, we're better than you and we expect your vote. And it's a bit like, I told a senator or a congressman, he's like, you have any tips? I go, dress worse. Dress.
Run the Fetterman play?
Yeah,
Cargo shorts all the time?
He took it too far. But also, maybe he didn't. He sure seems like he's regular. He sure doesn't seem like he's in the pocket of anyone. He doesn't have any pocket. But I'm saying he doesn't seem like he's in the bag for. He's not carrying anybody's water. So, I guess that's my thing. Is like, what do you think they're gonna do? Because it doesn't seem like even the recent poll, and they're like, yeah, this is not good. We don't know what we're gonna do.
Until there's a primary, there's not going to be a party leader. The party has no leadership. Hakeem Jeffries and Chuck Schumer are not public-facing leaders in that way. Mitch McConnell did not define the Republican Party in people's minds. So they're going to have this problem. They're going to have to figure out, and we'll see how they do it at the midterms, which are going to be defined by these individual races, right? Roy Cooper in North Carolina, the oyster farmer in Maine, and we'll see how it plays out. Then they've got this problem that you're getting at, which is whether or not they would think this is entirely fair. I hear this from a lot of people, right? It's become like a really congealed conventional wisdom about the Democrats. And one of the ways I see them play into it is not just who's on the banner at Democrats.org, because they got also issues with like who's staff, and like the staff is way far to the left of the principals.
It's the thing
but staff culture comes down from the top, and the idea that Democrats became deferential to their staff has actually taken hold in the party. They don't want to do that.
Yeah.
But in many cases, you look at, say, a Ruben Gallego in Arizona, like they've been very clear on ending this. Most Democrats, it might be true for most politicians, but the thing that I think you have with Bernie and AOC, thing you had with Obama, thing you have with Trump actually, is it when you ask them
off the charts? He was the biggest star on television for a decade. He beat ER.
It's not just that. There's like you ask him a question, and you feel the thing that happens when you ask him a question is they answer you. That they're telling you the thing they really think.
Yeah.
And they're not first running a mental algorithm about what you will think of the thing they really think, but also what anybody watching might think of the thing they really think, and will somebody on Twitter be mad at the thing they really think.
The reaction.
And Pete Buttigieg just got in trouble. He was on, I think it was Pod Save the World or Pod Save America, and he got asked a series of questions about Israel and Gaza. And the reason it ended up being a problem for him, I don't think was really even his position, which was muddled, but it's that you could feel him not telling you what he thought. I'll tell you the person who I'm becoming more impressed by right now is Newsom. Since the 2024 election, Gavin Newsom, who was like Joe Biden's top surrogate, he's just trying shit. He's like having Charlie Kirk on his podcast and Steve Bannon, and people are getting mad at him, and he doesn't really care, but you're talking about him, and he's learning, right? He's listening and absorbing things, and then he's out there like leading the redistricting fight, and he's got the social team kind of going a little bit hog wild. The thing you feel from Newsom, which I've not felt from Democrats for a while, is he doesn't really care if you're mad at him. He is not.
He can take it.
He is not running first with the question of, will this make anybody who likes me mad? And if the answer is yes, it will make somebody who likes me mad, I'm not going to do it. Right? And I think this actually, you mentioned social media. I think social media incentivizes some ways of communicating and not others, right? A lot of Democrats are tuned for the era in media when the New York Times,
The old era.
CBS, even cable news, like sort of controlled who got airtime. And then what the media said about what you said in the media really mattered. So this question of winning over the gatekeepers, the elites, people care a lot about how polite you are and you didn't say anything stupid or outrageous. A lot of them are still, I think, tuned to that. Kamala Harris was definitely tuned for that. Social media created a move towards identity. If you go back, forget politics. I read about this in my first book. Go look at what BuzzFeed was at the beginning. Right? BuzzFeed begins as Jonah Peretti's sandbox for virality on the internet. And if you look at what they figure out, it's that identity goes viral on the internet. So this stuff is not political. It's like 37 things only left-handers will know, right? 22 things only people with immigrant parents will know. Anything that is like me asserting my identity and my unique experience and drawing the line between me and other people, that's what works online in the era of social media. And part of the Democratic Party goes hard in that direction. I think that reflects some of what you're talking about which groups become
in a fearful
central.
way, though.
That too, yeah. I mean, it depends on the candidate. I mean, some are not fearful, right? Some are incredibly like riding into battle on this, but it kind of goes both ways. Now it's like the thing has shifted again, and the thing you can't do in video as well, particularly long form podcasts, which have become a more important medium. If people feel you. I feel this when I'm booking. I will not book a politician for my show who I think will give my audience this feeling.
I've heard you talk about that. And
I just, if you come on, like,
agree.
I will not book anybody who I think my audience is going to listen. Like, that person's not really telling me what they think.
Now, having said that, you're a guy who thinks in paragraphs. I can see it. Meaning, so like,
but I'm telling you, I think I'm telling you what I think.
I agree, but it's the kind of thing where it seems you think a lot, right? So you kind of have like, you kind of collate your thoughts and go, and it seems presented, but I don't think it's not sanitized.
Look, Obama doesn't do podcasts anymore. I wish he did. I would like to see him much more out there than he is.
He's going to have to.
Well, I mean, I guess only if he and Trump. There's some like outside. I was talking to a legal scholar the other day who really does think Trump will run for a third term. I kind of don't, but I could be wrong. And I'm like, is this what this is all leading up to? Like the Avengers Endgame of American politics, where Donald Trump and Barack Obama finally get to face off with each other in 2028? I don't think so, but you would find that Obama, who speaks in incredible paragraphs, also has a quality of you think he's saying what he thinks, because he does. I don't think the issue here is the level of composition in what people are saying. I think you can tell if people are trying to never offend you, or more to the point, never offend the people who are on their side. And they're just absolutely allergic to it.
Yeah, and you also understand why they got that way.
Yeah, I do.
As much from legacy media, and then I'd almost say more from social media of the purity tests and like, he said this, it's like gotchaing people and thin slicing people and misrepresenting people intentionally for your own gain. So I'm sympathetic, but I also think you have to just go, fuck it.
Yeah.
I'm going to say the wrong stuff.
You do need that, but it's also so much teeters on so little. It's the craziest thing about American politics. It's like, if there had not been
Howard Dean.
Right. If there had not been the amount of inflation there was in 2023, if Joe Biden was just 10 years younger and could have made the kind of case for himself that he could make when he was 10 years younger, if he had not sort of under a very certain moment of pressure picked Kamala Harris, who he was never kind of that close with, and instead picked somebody who more represented his form of politics, it's like so little. Like the election was decided by 2 points in the battleground states. You know, if
felt like it was 15.
I know, but it wasn't. Like, that's the fucking thing about it. You can imagine so little changing. And then the sort of retroactive, because Democrats lost in a profound way, like really did lose, like, and lost in an important election. But now it's like people look back and it's like everything they did was wrong.
Yeah, I
right?
know.
Every cultural dimension
Yeah.
of the party was wrong.
Yeah.
These people are absolute fucking idiots and losers.
Yeah. And they lost by a field goal.
Yeah, and they did actually pretty well
Yeah.
in the Senate, given what kind of year it was. I mean, you can look at it a bunch of different ways. I have been pretty hard on the Democrats was trying to get them to do an open convention all year. I think they made a huge series of mistakes and functionally let fascism come to our shores. So like my level of fury about this is pretty high. But I always think it's worth keeping in mind that in a 50-50 country where kind of every election for a long time has been within a couple points, you don't need that much to have gone different. And Republicans are like, we could have won that election with Ron DeSantis or Nikki Haley, and instead we went with this idiot again. Instead, he seems like the most potent force American politics has ever seen.
Yeah.
Three points in the polls, right? That's the difference between that.
I'll posit an answer for your question. The future of the Democratic Party or any successful politician is accepting that in pretty much every question, there's going to be almost 50-50 blowback. And just going, if I am for Israel, I'm Islamophobic. If I notice that it's a famine in Gaza, I'm anti-Semitic. Like,
don't you care about the hostages, Neal?
no, of course. No, that's exactly right.
I do this issue.
Of course.
I do this issue all the time on my show, and the degree to which the email on it is just like people living in completely different universes.
And I bet
if you even admit the other universe exists is like it's so sad to me.
And the future might be and just going, yeah.
I do not think that, at least for Democrats, the future is trying to create their own version of Donald Trump. There's always this kind of idea that, you know, you want to refight the last election with the person you can find who's most like the other guy. I mean, do you see this in the way I talk and think? I still do think that trying to show people that in a complex world, you are trying to integrate different ideas and views and find a way forward. I think people still want that. I do think you have to find actual leaders, and leaders are both capable of doing that and of leading. And those are two different projects in some ways, right? Building the coalition and trying to think through and also thinking through the other side. One of the trips I'm currently on is about the way liberalism just became so exhausted, and it got kind of pincered between right populism and left populism. And what we let out of the basement was illiberalism, and it's so dangerous. I mean, it is like being re-exposed to how bad this really is. This, which has always existed in American politics, right? McCarthy, Father Coughlin, you can go way back. What we were keeping kind of bound was really lethal. And
I didn't think we were going to have to deal with it again, personally.
the masked, we're dealing now with masked paramilitaries, grabbing people off the street, throwing them in vans, throwing them to like El Salvadoran torture prisons. And then our like duly appointed cabinet officials are posing for pictures in the El Salvadoran torture prisons in front of like human bodies stacked on top of each other. They're sending out like tweets where they've used an AI system to studio giblify an immigrant woman crying as she's deported. I think about how frustrated so many people were with, you started with, Barack Obama opposing gay marriage in 2008, and you're saying you can only do it because he was black. I would say that was like the normal position then. If you looked at that primary, it's not like the white candidates supported gay marriage.
I agree.
So things were in a bit of a different place. But
they were
nevertheless,
quick to forgive. I will say that. I will say they were quick to forgive because.
But there was also this reality then that I think, at least sort of among liberals, there was a sense that you had to take into account that much of the country did not and would not agree with you. And you had to hold in your politics that disagreement. And you might try to persuade them. You might sometimes try to like work over them. But if you look at Bill Clinton, if you look at Barack Obama, if you look at the people who were the sort of national level liberal leaders in this period, this sense that you're always working with disagreement and that you have to embody some of the opposite of yourself in yourself. That's a really important part of the politics. And I think what takes over is this fantasy that you could just win.
Yeah.
That you could just completely break the other side and get everything you wanted, that you don't have to compromise, that you can take the strongest possible position on everything, and that's going to mobilize this hidden mass of supporters, and suddenly you don't have to deal with all the messy disagreement and the fucking compromises and the half a loaf and the quarter of a loaf. And not only do I get it, I often felt that way, but I don't think it's going to work. And so one of the things that I'm thinking a lot about—
It's not going to work for who?
I think anybody, actually, but I think the left in particular. You need some of what liberalism at some point was able to do. People need to feel, even if they don't agree with you, that you like them and will think about them.
Yeah.
That you believe in them as full participants in this experiment. And the sentiment you were describing at the beginning here, where your perception of the Democratic Party is they just don't like you or somebody, right? Maybe they like you. You're a liberal
by the way,
comedian, but
barely.
But that is acid in politics.
Yeah.
They don't have to, people don't need to agree with you.
Yeah.
But they need to feel they need to feel you like them.
It's the definition of charisma isn't, do I like that person? It's, does that person like me?
This is both one of Trump's weaknesses, but Trump has he's got almost like the comedian's capability to weave in and out. It's J.D. Vance's weakness. J.D. Vance's contempt and hatred for the people he doesn't like, it radiates off of him, right? But the liberal version, the conservative sin is this rage, this y'all are destroying America kind of thing. And the liberal sin is this condescending contempt, and finding politicians who just do not project that is actually, whatever they believe is such an important thing. It's a reason Bernie Sanders is a very, very effective politician. That dude is rock solid in his beliefs, and he will give you the actual thing that comes into his head at that moment. But you're around him and you think, yeah, this guy is here for the people he's here for, and he doesn't really hate the other people, right? He's motivated by his sympathies, not his resentments. It's an important dynamic in politics.
Yeah, it's an important dynamic in life. Don't limit it. Just hit it. Don't you want me to feel good? Subscribe.